Hello, environmental lovers, good friends. I am Professor Negi, the author of the book Winds on Environment and Public Speaking. Today it's our 5th episode, and the title of this episode is Oh Greta, India loves you, speaks for you. Dear friends, let me first of all start with our common behavior, what we do when we have leisure time. We talk with our friends, we talk with our community members. Usually we talk about the big people. We talk about Donald Trump, Modi, G, a handful of film stars, sportsmen, dignitaries. And this is our usual way of talking. But sometimes the other way around is also true. And let me therefore tell you that sometimes the great people talk about the little people. And we have here a very conspicuous example. She is Greta Thunberg, the girl from Sweden, the 16-year-old climate activist who has been famous globally. There was a photographer in our town. He was quite a good photographer. He was a provincial level photographer, but he sometimes blogs and talks cock and bull stories, and sometimes he speaks that he has become famous all over the world in his photography. I asked him, you had taken part in a photography competition in London. Hello, photographer sir, what happened? Did you come first? No, I couldn't come first. What's the reason? Because the man who got the first prize, he dealt with a wonderful theme. What was the theme? And he said that the man took a photograph of a frog eating a snake. This is something wonderful. And here now, such a thing doesn't happen. But the farmers told me in the village that such a thing can happen. Sometimes big frogs can eat little snakes, something wonderful. It is something that is out of the way. And today something out of the way has happened. Modi, Trump, G, everyone is talking of, all the heads of states of the world are talking of Greta Thunberg, the Swedish girl, the international climate activist. When Greta was 7 years old, Greta started reading his textbook and found that global warming was a dangerous thing. All the people will die in future if the global warming continues. But she didn't believe. If all the people will die, then why the governments, the leaders are not taking prompt action to stop that? There would have been news, breaking news on television, the news that is covered during wartime with urgency. There will be news coverage on radio, television, everywhere. There would be emergency meetings, but nothing of that sort is done, or that thing is done. So he told that our elderly people, the leaders are doing nothing for the younger generation. They're allowing the younger generation to die. That's not good. So she came herself to the forefront. She sat in front of the Swedish parliament alone for so many days, and gradually she got media attention, became world famous. on August 20th, 2018, many students and Greta, they gathered before the Swedish parliament, and it was a very big news. And since that time, he has become a great news of the world and a celebrity, and everyone is talking of her. Trump, G, everyone is talking of her. Now, dear friends, let me tell you, this particular idea that the little people talk about what the great men do is wonderfully expressed by William Shakespeare, our world famous dramatist, in his comedy Twelfth Night. Here, there is a shipwreck, and the captain and Bhaula, the heroine, lands on the island. Bhaula asks the captain about the ruler of the place and whether he is married or not. Bhaula is a beautiful girl in the guise of a young boy. The captain says that the little people prattle of what the great men do, and from that prattling, from that rumor of little people, I know that the Duke is not married, and his name is Orsino, and he's running after a particular girl, but the girl is not liking the Duke. She doesn't like to marry the Duke. At the end of the story, we find that Bhaula marries the Duke, and Bhaula's brother marries the girl whom the Duke is following. It is a wonderful story. Dear friends, now let us find out how much of a celebrity Greta is. Greta addressed in many international meetings. On 23rd September 2019, she went to New York to address the UN Climate Action Summit. On the stage were a handful of the greatest of presidents and prime ministers of different countries of the world, and she spoke on that forum. But how can Greta go to New York? Because she doesn't fly. She doesn't fly because the aeroplane emits a lot of carbon. She doesn't like to warm the globe further. She wants to set an example. So, because she was a celebrity, she got a nice boat. It was a zero-emission boat. And it was the boat of the Prince of Monaco, a little island of the coast of southern France, 200 square kilometer in area. Oh, Greta, we tell you that we love you, the Indians love you, because we call you the little Columbus. Columbus, 500 years ago, crossed the Atlantic. Just you are crossing the Atlantic now, and Columbus got these ships from King Ferdinand of France and his wife Isabella. But mind it, and you must know it, that Prince of Monaco is not a prince. He is a regular king. He's in power. He's the king of Monaco. He's 62 years old, and he has set his foot on both the poles. And he's the only head of the state in the whole world who has created a record by setting his foot on both the poles, North Pole and South Pole. Greta reached New York. She addressed in the meeting. She told very wonderful things. She told, "Oh leaders, you actually should take care of the environment, because you are not taking up the care environment. You are our guardian, you are our fathers, you are our grandfathers. Therefore, a little girl is coming to the streets, protesting before the parliament and everywhere to remove carbon from the atmosphere and stop global warming. This is something very bad. You have shifted your responsibility to a little daughter. You have shifted the burden to the little daughter. That's not good. And therefore, I am doing that." On the stage were Modi was speaking on that stage. There was German Chancellor, she's a lady. There was UN Secretary General Antonio. He also delivered a very nice speech. And in that meeting, Trump was not on this stage. He was sitting in the audience. Trump actually didn't support the climate things. He was trying to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. So therefore, he didn't occupy the center stage. Actually, he was not to go to that meeting. But he went to the meeting because Greta was speaking. He knew so many things about Greta. She loved Greta at heart. He sat in the audience, and as soon as Greta's speech was over, Trump turned back. Dear friends, there are three kinds of love we find here. Trump loved Greta in one way. All the heads of the states and other guests who attended the meeting, they loved Greta in another way. The Indians loved Greta in another way. Trump loved Greta in a hide-and-seek way because she was not supposed to go, but he was not supposed to go, but he went to the meeting to hear Greta. And such kind of love happens in the domain of art and literature, a romantic kind of love. And this love we will call eros, according to the language of the ancient Greece. Eros. And the audience, the other heads of states who loved Greta, they loved in a courteous way, in an affectionate way, as good citizens love other good citizens, in a human relationship. That is called philia. But, oh Greta, we love you yet in a different way, we Indians. We love you in a yogic way. You believe in a low carbon life. We believe in a low carbon life. We have a common purpose. And our love towards you is called agape. Agape is a love which is universal in nature, which is agape is a love which is environmental in nature, which is humanitarian in nature. And we have that love for you. In India, we have an age-old culture. Even if modernity has come, people are not much non-vegetarian. They eat less meat. They may be poor, they cannot afford meat. But most important thing is that their culture asks them to show non-violence. Gandhi had asked them to show non-violence. And because of that culture, because of the culture of sands and seas who are living in Himalayas, Indians are less non-vegetarian. You are also non-vegetarian. You are a vegetarian, Greta. You are a vegan. You don't eat meat because meat emits a lot of carbon. 1 acre of land can feed 10 people with its corn. But if the corn from 1 acre of land is fed to goats and only a man will only eat goat meat, then only one man can live. So it has got a great pressure on land, meat producing. And therefore, you are a vegan, you are not flying in aeroplanes. Oh Greta, I am telling you one thing. I love your Friday for Future movement. On Fridays, the students are not going to schools. 11 million of them have taken part in the strike. They have made the whole world conscious. You have produced the greatest impact on the world leaders to begin efforts to stop climate change. That is really wonderful. No one in the past had done with that force upon the world leaders. But mind it one thing, generally the seniors don't like their children not going to schools. That is very bad. They are striking. But I shall tell you one thing, that on the Friday, if you clarify the doubts on environment of the students, at least 1 hour, then the students will be brilliant in environmental studies. Gradually, being part of the movement, they will try to speak well on environment. They will generate many environment awareness programs in villages, towns, and everywhere. And such a movement is necessary. And I am very sure if they do that, no one will say that they are striking, because all the students will get 80 to 90 marks in environmental studies. Moreover, they can speak well on environmental studies. Moreover, they are the organizers of small meetings on environmental awareness in different places. And if nearly 3 to 4 billion people will be made aware of environmental awareness things, I think you can achieve your goal. And Greta, but mind it, the most important thing which I will discuss in the next episode is, in India there is economic recession. There is economic recession because the bank, which RBI is saying, Reserve Bank of India is saying, because people are not consuming more. Actually, if you consume more, there won't be economic recession. But if you consume more, there won't be low carbon life. So what is to be done? How to resolve this conflict? I shall tell you about this thing in the next episode. Goodbye and good luck.